Cormac McCarthy has been blowing up lately. In the last 8 months, McCarthy has published 2 novels. Wendigoon made a massive video on Blood Meridian, and the Blood Meridian movie was announced. And so there are a ton of new Cormac McCarthy fans out there. And with obsessive and annoying new fans comes the gatekeepers. And as an ambassador of the degenerate part of McCarthy fandom, I have to say to you guys that we have to embrace them with their incessant questions about Blood Meridian and the Judge and AI art and photos of their bookshelf. We have to embrace them with open arms, everyone. The snoots at the Cormac McCarthy Society won't. The subreddit that is actively censoring my content that I post here on Cormac McCarthy will not embrace them. And if you believe in the power of Cormac McCarthy's work, then it is our job to help take these people on the journey to McCarthy's most impactful content. Because McCarthy is a fiction GOAT in terms of the value that you can get out of his work. McCarthy has published 12 novels, a couple screenplays, 1 nonfiction essay, roughly around 1.5 million words. We also have maybe 30 minutes of him actually talking in the interviews that he's done. But within that small amount of content, he has more to offer than any of the famous American writers. Toni Morrison, Don DeLillo, Joyce, Hemingway, whoever. And a lot of it has nothing to do with the tropes that the incels like to circle jerk over. For instance, just with The Passenger and Stella Maris alone, beyond the beautiful questions about the vacancies of the soul and love and trying to comprehend this post-atomic age, there is so much random information about science, math, history, biology that have made me grow as a thinker, and they are put into a system. McCarthy is delivering it to us in a package, and him saying, these are the greatest hits of my mind. And he writes so eloquently and has the knowledge to back it up that it feels fun to be researching Gödel. I failed math, but the other night I sat and researched the Chechen mathematician Kurt Gödel's work for 2 hours. During my first pass through McCarthy's work when I was in high school, it inspired me to go out into nature. It gave me the key to let me know that that was an important thing I needed to do. And later on, when I was living out in nature, living in a town of 800 people, spending years out in the desert, Cormac McCarthy was the guide, the one telling me that there is deep complexity and magic that exists out in nature. And we haven't even got to the writing yet. We haven't even gotten to the stories. Obviously, McCarthy's prose and his mastery of language and of story and whatnot are just absolutely mind-blowing. He's one of the best stylists that has ever existed. He is the king of the King James Bible lineage that has now ended for fiction writers. No one has taken that torch, and no one ever will. And as a culture who is influenced by the Bible more so than any other piece of knowledge, that's quite the award to have. He doesn't have the most diverse voice. He's not the king of diversity. He is the one voice. He is the master of writing in that voice. You look at McCarthy's personal life. Oh my God, the guy is a recluse. He said, fuck you to the Cormac McCarthy Society, to the subreddit, to me, to everybody. He's given nothing away. He's left 3 wives for restricting him in his working habits, and research. I don't know about the third, but that's what the first 2 said the reason was. Most of us are scared to do even 1% of what McCarthy did with his life. We have mastered nothing. We don't put ourselves out there and surround ourselves with people that are way smarter than us. McCarthy is just a rando writer, and he's hanging out with Nobel Prize physicists, some of the smartest people in the world, and he's going to lectures and conferences and sitting there and editing their books. What's the equivalent of that in your life? My God, I'm not doing that. And guess what? Hemingway wasn't doing that. When, like I said, start going through the list of authors, they're not doing a lot of this. They're not being sober. McCarthy has been sober for at least 50 something years. He's not getting high with his friends. He's not going out to the boxing fights and drinking some beers. The dude is grinding, chasing hoes, and spending time out in nature. And what's also really fun about McCarthy as a newbie is that it's like the Wild West. The Cormac McCarthy Society started in 1990. And it wasn't until the 2007 Academy Award-winning movie, No Country for Old Men, that McCarthy really hit the mainstream. But since then, the road helped him a little bit. But since 2009 or so, the McCarthy world has been silent. Obviously, the internet has helped grow McCarthy. But what we're in right now seems to be the third wave. And guys, I know it sucks to see unaligned people butchering what you love. I got into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and freestyle skiing like really hardcore in 2007. Freestyle skiing blew up with Facebook and YouTube, the Olympics. Jiu-jitsu blew up because of Joe Rogan and everyone trying to reclaim their masculinity. And nothing's been more painful to watch what it's been turned into now. In every single plaza, there's a Mick dojo that is turning jiu-jitsu into the next karate. But for every idiot, there is someone who is mastering themselves. For every McCarthy newbie who is just obsessing over Blood Meridian and using it to fuel their incel nature, there is someone contemplating environmentalism because of the Orchard Keeper. And if we want this wave to continue, if you want to be able to go to a party and talk about Cormac McCarthy or see more Cormac McCarthy adaptions, we have to hype this up. And I know you guys aren't online, as much as you can. Because if we look at that Wendigoon guy, he is just a typical surface level mass marketer of knowledge for the everyman. But everyone who helped hype Blood Meridian to the point where this Wendigoon guy heard about it, helped create hundreds of thousands of new Cormac McCarthy fans. It's insane. If Cormac McCarthy came out today and made a video on Blood Meridian, it wouldn't get as many views and as many people to read Blood Meridian as a random YouTuber making a video about Blood Meridian. And we need more of that. McCarthy's work is great enough to influence mavens. And whoever is talking about McCarthy, in whatever context, is the contrast of book talk, of the endless black hole that BookTube has become, is a response to the overpriced and overrated university system. And so everyone, I'm asking you to not be afraid of being a McCarthy bro, to not be afraid of being that guy or being too extra. Help these people see the light. Help them read the books. If they've read Blood Meridian, make sure they get through the next book. Don't let them quit. Watch my video on what the best Cormac McCarthy reading order is. Figure out a system. I have gotten over 100 people in my personal life into Cormac McCarthy. That's what I'm doing on this YouTube channel. It's almost like being a salesperson. You have to sell the right people because people default toward things that are easy, things that are comfortable, things that they know. They don't want to hear about a wolf dying. The last thing they'd ever think they were reading is a contemplative, transcendental novel about Cornelius Suttree. And I hate to be a McCarthy bro, but I've found the people who I'm closest with in my life also like Cormac McCarthy's work. If you can't understand it, if you are a complainer, then I don't want you in my life. I have a very open mind when it comes to books. I enjoy almost all books that have decent writing. And if someone it can't be positive about McCarthy's work, then most of the time they're just a dud. They're either not smart enough, they're too close-minded, they're too logical, they're trying to build and hold a persona, and you don't want to be involved with them. I know this is sounding bro-culty, but it feels nice that my whole friend circle of, let's say 10 people who I communicate regularly with know exactly what I'm talking about if I say the Triune in Outer Dark. I created a group message and sent out the Blood Meridian movie announcement. Everyone went crazy. We all, and if people like one person, most of the time they're open-minded to the interests of the other, group members. Most of us in the group listen all the same music. We share all the same books. And so McCarthy bros, you are welcome here, and I'll talk about what happened at the end of Blood Meridian forever.